Minister Justin Trudeau invoking the Emergencies Act.
This is Brussels tonight.
Protesters angry about vaccine mandates.
These startling demos happening too in Austria, Croatia and Denmark.
In Canada, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has invoked emergency powers which give the government the power to freeze the private bank accounts of the truckers.
Protests against vaccine mandates finding support in the U.S.
The 14th Amendment gives us due process. It guarantees us equal protection under the laws. So why in the world are the unvaccinated being treated differently than the vaccinated? It is the new segregation.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel.
My name is April.
My name is Rondell, and as you saw, there's a whole lot going on in relation to travel and this crazy pandemic that we're in right now.
And today we are unmasking some ills or some inconsistencies that we've been seeing around the world in this era of COVID.
So when we say inconsistencies, we mean that nobody knows. We're making decisions based on theory right now. People are being locked inside of their own countries based on theory.
Well, in the beginning, you think you're bulletproof if you get the vaccination.
Teflon Don.
You don't know what's in the vaccination.
There is no vaccination. A vaccination is immunity to a virus. This does not grant you immunity to this virus at all. This is a shot, and it has been proven to reduce the symptoms, to cut down hospital stays, which is awesome. Which is awesome. It degums up the hospital emergency room, which is ideal for maintaining life. But it is also being utilized as a tool to discriminate against people.
So if we're at the point in time where we're seeing that regardless of if you're vaccinated or not, both groups of people are still catching COVID, it's still communicable, both can pass it to one another, then why are there still different travel requirements for these groups?
It is the new segregation. It is the new discrimination. And we have to stop it.
We straight pulling up the skirt, you guys. You guys got with us in our comments telling us about different things going on in different parts of the world. And honestly, it was quite shocking what some of these democracies, these known democracies, are doing with and to their people.
We appreciate you guys sharing that with us, opening our eyes to what's really happening on the ground from where you are.
The strength of social media is real. So first off, thank you guys for getting with us in the comments. We want to let you guys know where we're coming from before we get started. A, we stand for travelers' rights.
We believe in world citizenship, or being a global or a world citizen, even though it's not technically a thing, but we hope that one day it can be.
And we like to show love to our brothers and sisters out here. And to show love, we're making this video to stand in solidarity with you. That said, we are not radicals. We're not trying to have our message leveraged by any kind of radical groups. So if you get with us in the comments screaming some crazy stuff, I ain't gonna argue with you, man. I'm just gonna delete the message.
We know there are radicals to the left and to the right, but pretty much we safeguard ourselves against different groups that are radicalizing to push a particular agenda.
That said, you guys, let's start to dig into what's going on globally with this pandemic and the infringement of freedoms.
All right, we're gonna dive into a few particular countries in this video.
All right,
let's go.
It's Canada, eh?
Yep, our neighbor to the north.
That's right, man. Our boys over there and our women over there seem to be having some issues that they're making a lot of noise about right now. They have to have had the jab in order to leave the country. And what this is, again, is you are locked inside of your country. Canadians have also been very, very, very vocal in our comments saying that they are trapped pretty much and being forced to get this injection in order to move freely. Is that freedom?
In Cabo, we met a couple of people from Vancouver, and they were sharing with us the same thing. They had to be vaccinated in order to leave, and you have to have that vaccination in order to return.
So this is absolutely mind-blowing to me that we are allowing this to happen in these countries that are calling themselves a democracy. There's also this notion in the United States that you can't leave or that you can't re-enter the United States if you're unvaccinated. Let me tell you something, y'all. Yes, you can.
If you are a U.S. citizen, regardless of your vaccination status, all you need is a negative PCR test in order to enter by air. By air.
Right. A democracy is a form of government that's supposed to be by the people,
of the people,
and for the people.
We the people.
All right, shout out to our Aussies out there. Awesome country, awesome people who have been super vocal in our comments telling us about the discrepancy between the vaccine-free and the vaccinated in their country.
Now, what I understand in Australia is that if you are a vaccinated citizen or a permanent resident, then you seem to be able to travel in and out of the country no problem.
If you are vaccine-free, then you got some issues. You cannot leave the country and you can't travel freely domestically. There are some issues from state to state.
Right. Reading the government website, it seems like each state or each territory can pretty much make up their own travel rules and restrictions. So if you're trying to travel domestically within Australia, you have to check the states in which you're going to, as the rules may be different from one to the next.
So please recognize, all we're saying is the Aussies are stuck inside of their own countries if they don't get the jab. Period. They cannot travel internationally, and some people can't even fly from state to state in their own country. Is that freedom? All right, this is just a little conversation piece, you guys. Do you find it interesting how people are migrating right now during this time?
We're seeing a lot of people from the US and Canada that are moving down to Mexico or who got stuck in Mexico and are just deciding to stay.
We're seeing people from Germany moving to Croatia, moving to Uruguay. There's a mass migration taking place on the planet right now where people are moving where they feel accepted and where they feel free. Do you have any plans to jump countries or move someplace else? Hit us up in the comments below. Let us know. So the last country on this roundup that we're going to talk about is New Zealand, the democracy over in Oceania. As we understand it, everyone entering the country must go through some type of isolation. Now that's either going to be a self-isolation or a managed isolation. What are the differences?
Okay, if you are a citizen, you enter the country, you don't have to show proof of vaccination, but if you want to self-isolate at home, for example, then you will have to show proof of a vaccination in order to do that. If you're coming into New Zealand and don't have proof of vaccination, then that's where you go into managed isolation and quarantine, MIQ. Managed isolation if you're not showing any symptoms of COVID, but you'll have to go to a quarantine facility if upon arrival you test positive for COVID or you're showing symptoms.
So pretty much you go to a government-run site and you are monitored by the government for 10 days to see if you have any symptoms of the coronavirus. Now, we'd be remiss if we did not state that on February 27th, New Zealand has plans to reopen their borders. Now, reopening their borders entails having some type of travel certificate. What is that all about?
Well, there is a international travel vaccination certificate that on the government website, it seems like, I don't know if it's mandatory or if it's just being heavily encouraged to get in order to travel outside of New Zealand. But you have to be vaccinated in order to get the certificate.
Now, what we've seen with these certificates is without this certificate, you cannot travel internationally, which means you cannot leave. You can't leave. You cannot leave your free country without this certificate. That is taking place right now. So New Zealanders, I hope that's what we call them, New Zealanders, I don't know, cannot leave their countries without this certificate. So they are locked inside of their own country.
So what's interesting though is they don't say that it's mandatory, but they also don't mention anything about unvaccinated travelers being able to travel outside of the country. So if you're on the ground in New Zealand, let us know what's up.
We stand in solidarity for you. Whatever rights you are fighting for, we stand with you. So shout out to everybody around the world caught up in this struggle of equal rights for travelers.
Right, I know we just talked about 3 countries. That's just a very short list and a long list of countries that are going through their own predicaments and dealing with this pandemic.
So we just want to say thank you guys for joining us today. And again, don't let individual groups curb your anger to their cause, okay? You live in a democracy, lift your voice and let it be heard.
Regardless of where you are, drop your country in the comments below and let us know what's going on there.
Get it to people and let them know, you guys. Look, if you guys enjoyed this video or if it was informative and told you something you ain't know,
hey, hit that thumbs up.
Give us a thumbs up, man. We appreciate it. And if you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe to the Yarbros. We're always bringing you travel relevant content and trying to keep it 100% with you guys. So my name is Rondell.
My name is April.
And we're up out of here, y'all. Peace and love.
See ya.